Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be a February wrap-up. February. I don't know. So these are all the books that I read in February. I did do some reading vlogs on literally all of the books here except for Crescent City. Let's just get right into it. First of all, do you guys see this cute sweater? Look at this. My cousin got this for me for my birthday. Spider-Man is my favorite superhero. He has been my favorite superhero for as long as I can remember. So I'm probably gonna be wearing the shit out of this sweater. So February is a short month, as we all know. Duh, it's 28 days. I don't know why. I don't know why I'm explaining February to you guys. Apparently I have read 6 books. I honestly was not keeping track and it took me a second to realize what I even read this month. So the first book that I read is Final Offer. I believe I did start this in January, but I finished it in February if I'm not mistaken. Why am I starting with Final Offer? Oh my god, sorry. I should be starting with Terms and Conditions. Okay, I'm gonna be completely honest. I do not remember if I finished this right at the end of January or if I started this in January and then finished in early February. Whatever, we're gonna include it in this video because I believe I did finish it in February. If you did see my reading vlog of me reading the Final Print series, you will know that I am in love with this book. This book is so freaking good, you guys. Just a brief recap about what the Fine Print series is about. It is basically about 3 brothers who are Rowan, Declan, and Cal. Their grandfather passes away and leaves an inheritance for them, but there are conditions. There are terms and conditions. Their grandfather leaves a will behind stating that they can have their share of the inheritance as long as he completes very specific tasks on his will. In terms and conditions, this is about Declan, and in order for him to get his share of the inheritance, he basically has to marry, which is a bit extreme. He has to marry and have a child. He has an assistant named Iris and they end up doing a fake marriage situation. It's a great slow burn and I just love both of the characters, Declan and Iris. They are my favorite out of the entire series. I love them. So this book for me was a 5 out of 5 stars. The next book that I have is A Final Offer, which is the 3rd book in the Fine Print series by Lauren Asher. Now that I'm thinking about it, I think that I started reading this in January and ended it in February, because this did come out right at the end. No, actually, because it did come out, but then I didn't start reading it until February. I don't know. Oh my god, I don't remember. But anyways, so Final Offer is about the youngest sibling, Cal, and it is a second chance romance. His love interest in this book is named Alana, and in order for Cal to get his share of the inheritance, he basically has to sell their lake house by the end of summer. However, when he goes to visit the lake house, he realizes that Alana lives in that lake house. She doesn't want him selling it, and they did not end their relationship on good terms, so Alana has very strong feelings towards Cal returning. This book was also really great. It was really cute. Cal is like the sunshine out of all of the brothers. It's also, I guess, a small town romance. I think I rated this a 4 stars, 4.5, 4.7, somewhere around there. The next 2 books, I did another reading vlog on these for like a Valentine's Day themed vlog. I actually read X's and O's first. So I did, ow, my back. This book is about a woman named Tara Chen. She ends up moving in with a firefighter. They just become friends and he basically helps her on her quest to reconnect with some of her exes to see if there could be a second chance between them. At first, I did think that this book was a little bit cheesy. I wasn't sure if it was going to be for me. I didn't really like the beginning of it at all, but then it started getting better. I started like kind of liking the message. It ended up being pretty good. I think it was like cheesy in a very like rom-com kind of way. I could really imagine this as a rom-com movie. I don't really have any strong opinions towards this. It was kind of just like, I think it was just a cute little fun read. It's kind of one of those books where you don't really need to think too much. I believe I did give this a 3 out of 5 stars though, because again, I didn't like insanely love it, but I also didn't hate it, so it's kind of just in the middle for me. The next book that I have is The Love Hypothesis. I really enjoyed reading this book. I read this almost in a day. I like couldn't put it down. I was just eating it up. I really liked the banter. I really liked both of the characters, and this is a grumpy sunshine, and I was afraid I wasn't going to like it because of that, but I think that Olive wasn't too cringy. It did have some like kind of like cringe moment. I feel like every romance book that I read has its cringe moments. I feel like it's just kind of inevitable, to be honest. I ended up watching reviews after I read this book, not on purpose. I think I was just watching like wrap-ups and whatever. My cats are really hyper right now also. And the birds are loud these past couple of days because the weather is getting warmer. They are loud and I love that. I love hearing them chirp. I actually really love it. Okay, I don't know why I'm talking about this. Anyways, as I was saying, I ended up finding out that apparently this is very strongly based off of Adam Driver and specifically like Darth Vader and Padme. So that was pretty interesting to find out. I was kind of like confused. I don't know, I'm just kind of confused how that even works. Like, how do you base off all of that and then cram it into a book like this? I would have never connected the two or associated the two, but maybe that's just because I don't really know much about Star Wars, and I honestly don't really remember any of the movies. It's been so long since I watched it. I can see why some people found this book to be a little bit like cringy. I can definitely see that. I think I can just see both sides of why it's loved and why like people have iffy feelings about it. I don't know, I liked it, I didn't mind it. I thought it was a good book. I thought it was cute. It was definitely one of the more tolerable Grumpy Sunshines that I've read. However, I forgot to mention, I don't know why I didn't talk about this in my reading blog though, that the spice scene between them was really like, I was kind of getting secondhand embarrassment. I don't know how to describe it, but I was getting secondhand embarrassment because I had to like probably read that scene again to determine exactly what it was. I felt uncomfortable reading it, that's what it was, because it just didn't feel quite right. Anyways, that's all I'm gonna say about this book, but overall I did enjoy it. I would give it like a 3 stars as well, 3.5. Why don't I remember what I need to write stuff down on my phone, honestly. Next book that I have is A Love in Other Words. First thing that I have to say about this book is that the writing is so beautiful. The first 2-3 pages I read of this book, I was like, I can immediately tell that I'm just going to love this writing. The writing is like kind of poetic in a way. I really love that it takes us from past to present in between each chapter. It kind of keeps my attention focused on the book and I didn't get bored of like reading it, if that makes sense. This book is a second chance romance as well, and towards the end I really started tearing up. My heart literally shattered, broke in pieces, felt like someone stepped on it, put it back in my body, and then ripped it out again. All the reviews I've heard about this book, people just absolutely love it, and I can see why. It's a great book. I think it's definitely worth the hype. Also, Macy's dad, I just feel so bad for him. Great book. I believe I did give this a 5 out of 5 stars. The last book that I have, Crescent City. Oh my god. This is the first Crescent City book, House of Earth and Blood by, of course, Miss Sarah J. Maas. You guys, this book was insane. I don't know if you guys have heard of the joke where it's like Sarah basically, Sarah as if we're on first term basis. Anyways, I don't know if you guys have heard the joke in her books where it's like not anything crazy happens for a while up until the last, very last couple of chapters. Shit just goes down. There's a war, there's fighting, there's death, there's violence, there's just chaos. I kind of understood the joke when I was reading ACOTAR, but then at the same time I was like, no, I think they were like pretty good pace to me, honestly. But then when I read this book, I was like doing okay up until the last couple of chapters. I should have been hooked up to a freaking like monitor. You guys would have saw my heart rate just go woo. The last couple of chapters, just pure adrenaline rush. I started tearing up. I actually cried. I cried a lot. It was insane. Like, I just was not expecting any of it to just go down like that, you know? When I first started reading this book, the first like chapter or two, it took me a while to really get used to the names that she was using. I really had to get accustomed to the world, so there was a lot of world building at first. I was kind of afraid that I wasn't going to really understand anything because of all these like new terms thrown in my face. I started getting really comfortable as I kept reading on, and like now I fully understand it. So yeah, I really enjoyed this book, especially because of the last couple of chapters, even though they were all just like thrown in there, but it was a good read. However, there are some things where I feel like were kind of unnecessary. The mention of Bryce's body is just, it's just too much. There's just too many times where it's like Bryce's like voluptuous body and like her boobs and her butt. Bruh, I get it. You could say it like 2 or 3 times. Almost in every chapter there's a mention of her body. I felt like Bryce was kind of just like over sexualized. So I'm not sure if anyone else felt like that, but I feel like that was just a bit unnecessary for me. It was just mentioned so many times to the point where I was like, I get it. Probably should also mention what this book is even about. It is about a woman named Bryce Quinlan. She's half human, half fae. She has a group of friends called the Pack of Devils, and her best friend is Danica Fender. Bryce is known to be very much of a party girl, just kind of like living life on the fun side. I guess. A really, really horrible death happens and basically kind of turns her world upside down. There is a flash forward of 2 years and Bryce is asked by Archangel to basically help investigate who is behind these murders, because 2 years later the murders end up happening again and no one knows who's behind it. They do know that it has to do with like demons and whatever. So she is assigned to work with a fallen angel named Hun Adalar. And then basically shit just goes down. So but yeah, also like the murder that happens in this book, I was completely not expecting. I was like, oh, even though it might have been obvious if you did read the synopsis, but I just was not expecting that at all. But I feel like right away, this book did break my heart because of that. This is definitely, okay. This is definitely very different from ACOTAR. I feel like ACOTAR is more on the light side of fantasy, if that makes sense. And then Crescent City is kind of like, it's a little bit more mature, I would say. These books feel a little bit more mature in the sense of like there's more mature content in it, more rated R content, if that makes sense. I feel like Throne of Glass is going to be the highest level of rated R content and level of maturity. Also, I would rate this book a 4 out of 5 stars. I am gonna stop rambling. That is all of the books that I read for February. Really hope you guys enjoy this video. Thank you so much for watching. If you are interested in watching any of my reading vlogs, if you have not seen already on some of these books, then I obviously have them published. So, you know, if you want to watch them, they're there. I don't know what I'm saying anymore. Anyways, I'm gonna stop talking. I can honestly just talk forever and start rambling and then go into different topics and then I just don't shut up. So I'm gonna stop right now. Again, thank you for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye bye.